Nice.
Wow, we made it even grosser somehow.
And Alex is the one that did it somehow.
I don't know that I blame Alex for this.
He
I feel like Alex is like a part of the system. He was raised in it.
Yeah,
He's
I'm like
fucking improving over
I'm
here.
like one of the guys in the tipping point.
Yeah,
right. Like
What's
somebody
that?
has to start it, and I just keep it. I just fan the flames.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Alex isn't the problem. I feel like this goes all the way to the top, dude.
Wow.
I'm blameless.
I'm not at the top. We share the top.
I'm blameless. I'm
We're
an
all
angel.
tops here.
I'm
all three
a
of us.
cherub.
All three of
yeah.
us are tops.
Are we?
Oh, absolutely, I am.
I believe at a live show we said you were a power bottom, Jesse. Actually, you're right.
That's what he said.
That's what we both said. Remember? It was at a LA live show for the Halloween one. I think it was.
I get that.
Because the alien thing happened.
I get that essence.
It was during the Cryptid Smasher Pass. I forget which one it was, but yeah,
that classic segment.
Classic segment. What do you got today, boys?
I got a kind of weird one.
You got weird ones every week.
This one's pretty. Even for me, like just a little bit weirder. The only thing is, I wish there was
Even
one
for
more. I feel like
me.
if there's one more, we're like really onto something here. I want to take you to Sioux City, Iowa. You guys familiar with this place?
I know of it. I've never been.
According to ESPN 102.3.
Wait, time out. Hang on. Is Sioux City, Iowa better or worse than Gulf Breeze, Florida?
Well, the reason I want to give the benefit of the doubt is because it's referred to in this article by Ben Coons at ESPN 102.3, ESPN Sioux Falls, the cow town with an opera house. So to me, I feel like the very thing that I had
version of like Babe the Pig.
The thing I had a problem with, which Jesse will probably remember, which I said, no culture, right? What's higher?
You're not wrong.
What's higher culture than an opera house, right?
Sure. Okay. I'll hold your hand and walk down this path.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let me get to what's weird about
That's
this.
his topic today. That was it.
I'm just here telling you why I like Sioux City, Iowa. I've never been there. I've never seen it. All I know is this one story.
Heard it's
here's
very
the
nice.
deal.
Never been.
So there was according to the Dakota News Now website, there was a vending machine in downtown Sioux City that is located inside of a building called the Francis Building. I don't know what this building is. It looks like a typical sort of like big square Midwestern office building. Okay. Like they went to the people that work in the building went to the vending machine to get some snacks. Instead, with all the snacks in one of the slots was a blue crab chilling inside the vending machine. A infra-order Brachyura crab, like a fucking blue crab. And it died a little bit after they found it. Inside the vending machine, they found it.
Like it got in there?
I don't know. And then
It was born in there, actually.
KTIV TV in Sioux City said that in the computer lab at the library, somebody else found another blue crab just chilling in the library.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. And if you don't know where Sioux City, Iowa is, just real quick, like look at it on
a lot of crabs, huh?
Yeah, it can't be a lot of crabs out that way.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's pretty in the middle, you know? It's pretty not by water. Let's say that. It's almost like in the very center of the United States. Like you're close to the lakes-ish, but you're like almost central on a map of the United States. Like you could not be farther from either the west or east coast from where you are in Sioux City, Iowa. And
I wonder where they came from.
And it's interesting just because it takes to get it inside of a vending machine takes some level of effort. And for somebody to just slap one down in the library and take off and for nobody to see it, I don't know what could be happening. You know, I don't know what sort of plans could be occurring. But here's the three possibilities that are suggested by ESPN 102.3. First one, advanced troops of an alien invasion. If you don't,
obviously the most likely.
If you don't believe that that's possible, I point you to the 1950s, where sometimes people just literally film crabs close to the camera to be a monster. Next, Second suggestion from this article: genetic experiments gone wrong. Sebastian, super soldier, right? The deep, doing something crazy underwater, forming some sort of super soldier crab. They just wanted to say that one to praise
super
Jack Quaid's
soldier
acting.
crab.
They literally just wanted to mention that Jack Quaid.
I don't understand. So it's all jokes.
Like nobody knows where the fucking nobody knows what they think is probably the what they think is probably the explanation is that it's like somebody doing it, like a person going around placing these crabs to some end, and it may continue. Like there may be more crabs in Sioux City. If you are listening to this and you are in Sioux City, be on the lookout, especially near the Francis Building in the library, for some blue crabs. You know, kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of weird. Well, thank you for the crab news, Alex. Over to you, Jesse, for whatever the fuck you got.
Well, all right.
It is weird.
So,
it is weird.
Wait. Do you want to hear the quote?
Do
you want to hear the quote from the manager, the circulation services manager at the Sioux City Public Library?
I would love to.
Jen Delperdang said, quote, "We really have no idea the journey that this crab had to get to the library. It just must have been hungry for knowledge here." Also, the one in the computer lab that they found, it's a Chesapeake blue, and they called it Chester, and then he died. He died this happened actually a couple weeks ago. Like beginning of the month. But he died. They both died.
R.I.P.
Rip.
Yeah,
they weren't meant to be there.
No.
I don't know. Weird mystery.
It is a weird mystery. I'm not going to say it's not. Jesse, help. What do you got?
Gentlemen, I come to you today with something amazing. But before I do that, I want to just, if you haven't seen this, I must stress the two of you need to see this. In Mississippi, an attorney was accused of bringing illegal substances into court into the jail.
Oh, I know this picture,
and I
dude.
just
I love
this mugshot's
picture.
hilarious.
Did this go on Cox and Crendor?
No, but I feel like if any human being ever looks like he was bringing something illegally into a prison, it's this dude.
This is where I'm like, maybe this is one of those photos where it makes me think we live in a simulation.
There's a comedian called Rich Fulcher.
This man is he is the man that brings drugs. I don't care where he is. He has drugs on him.
He literally is like,
one eye is like way more bulging than the other one.
He's like sweaty.
He's sweaty into his jacket, like his suit jacket. Look at his shoulder.
Like he's wearing an Egger suit.
Like somebody took a fucking
from Men in Black. Like
he looks like if Better Call Saul was a real human being.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if it was really real, this would be him.
It looks like if Better Call Saul was real, but it was actually called Better Call Frog.
If you are, that's fantastic.
And then there was
if you
real
are like ever
frog,
curious if you can like make it through law school, have this picture on hand at any time.
Yeah, just remember this guy did it.
This guy can do it. You can do it.
He literally look up the comedian Rich Fulcher. That is exactly what this guy looks like. He looks like a sketch character that Rich Fulcher would play.
It's wild.
If you know that, that's funny. Trust me.
I don't.
That's exactly how he looks.
Was that your topic today, Jesse?
No. My
was
topic
this on
today
Cox and Crendor? That's so funny.
It needs to be if it wasn't.
My topic today is from the Quantum Insider.
Oh, yeah, shit. Blow my mind.
What a great publication. Or is it?
So, yeah, maybe it's both. Maybe it exists and doesn't. As we all know, the Fermi Paradox, it's a thing we've talked about before. We did a whole episode on it. The vastness of the universe.
You eggs, and I'm surprised, but you like eggs essentially ruined some listeners on that episode.
Great.
For some, it was Albert Fish. For others,
it was the Fermi
sheer
Paradox.
Existential terror. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good news, potentially. So the Fermi Paradox, as we said, suggests that there's like potentially a lot of people out there, but why don't we see them? Why don't we hear from them? What's going on with that? Well, our search only really exists in sort of like a SETI scope, which is radio waves or laser signals or lights and things like
human technology.
Yeah, we are basic human technology stuff. And so
why aren't these super advanced races using radio waves?
Right. Like, and if we send radio waves, would they detect it? That kind of thing.
And it would take forever.
Right.
Continue,
so researchers are currently studying the fact that maybe we should be exploring quantum communications, because an advanced alien civilization who could span the stars probably isn't going to communicate via radio waves. It's too slow. And a great example is just the idea that if you were to think about the 1700s, if we brought a radio to the 1700s, no one could detect the radio. Like if we broadcasted a radio tower in the 1700s,
right.
no one could pick it up.
No one would be the
It's a
wiser.
very typical explanation, like giving a bunch of chimps a cell phone.
Yeah, like they wouldn't understand what to do with it. And so the way we do information transmittal is very classic. It's the zeros and ones. It's a thing that I think all of us know, thanks Matrix.
Yeah.
But quantum communication is essentially you are doing zeros and ones at the exact same time and sort of like overlapping. It is both a 0 and a 1, that kind of vibe.
What about the one where they added like the Asian characters to the Matrix? What was that about?
The Animatrix?
No, just like
the Animatrix is cool.
Some of the different.
What about the albino dudes with the dreads? Those guys.
I'm talking about the literal Matrix. I'm not talking about Asian people. I'm talking about the literal falling Matrix that comes on the screen. In one of the movies, like they just add like Asian writing into it also. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, did I make that up?
Because we're stupid and we look at it and we're like,
because it looks cool, dude.
Yeah, it looks like
cool.
Future code.
My thoughts on the Fermi Paradox are: have we considered that we are just set to friends only by accident?
It's possible. It's possible. We have "it's complicated" written next to us, and no one wants
People
to touch that.
Yeah, but it says it's complicated exclusively in Morse code.
Right. It's you got to really want it.
There's like some really old timey postmen that are just like not into
proto mailmen.
Yeah, the true proto mailmen, mini mailmen.
So, Latham Boyle from the Higgs Center of Theoretical Physics in Edinburgh.
That guy wears a cape. That guy wears he has
100%.
a scepter. He has a scepter and a crown that shoots energy
and a pocket protector.
Yeah.
So Boyle argues that photon qubits can retain their quantum coherence over interstellar or even intergalactic distances, raising the prospect of interstellar quantum communication. Basically, we're talking quantum cryptography and teleportation and super dense coding and all that stuff that is not classical communication. Things that
teleportation.
Yeah, like literally, if I sent you a message right now, like so when we talk, our conversation takes milliseconds. They're talking like instantaneous communication.
It's one of the reasons quantum supercomputers are being worked on right now, because when we have one that works fully, the idea is because it can do ones and zeros both, it's not doing and or, it can do calculations that would take a normal PC literally millions of years to get through all of in the matter of seconds. Because it can just do everything all at once all the time.
Last night, or maybe 2 nights ago, there was a guy posted on Reddit a quantum mechanic puzzle solving thing. And he's like, here's how quantum computers work. And the first one, he's like, when you have a normal computer and it tries to solve a thing, it goes through the puzzle one sort of puzzle attempt at a time. And quantum, it does all the different paths at once, and it finds the endpoint, then works backwards. And so by the time you're even like 1/20th of the way done with the original computer, quantum's finished and knows what's up.
That's why it's fucking scary. And if general AI is going to exist, it will come from a quantum computing breakthrough. I guarantee it.
Sure. And basically they're just saying like this, if we do quantum stuff, this would be like wavelength constraints, be it light or sound or whatever. That's a totally different thing that we would not be on that anymore. Telescope size, everything, and type, we'd have to change. Basically would change how we see the universe. And then only then we'll be able to detect anything, because you can imagine if I'm a civilization that uses quantum sort of communications, I'm not blasting off stuff for us to hear. I'm sending stuff to people that are part of my team across the universe. Right. So why the hell would I care? You know, it's like having the internet, but living up in like a holler in Appalachia. You know what I mean? Like you're not
right.
It only real recently time. Is that starting to happen for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thing is like, okay, quantum computing, I forgot what I was going to say. It's so complicated that it's like hard to like track my thoughts about this. But like, if people start being able to like do like computations like this, like, is that going to be like the next Is that going to be like the next shift in like the next internet? Because we can like find the right answer. Like, you know how you have
it's
to
going
like
to change the world.
You don't have to like guess about like futures. You know what I mean? You know how you have to like guess about like the price of things, or like is that going to stop being a thing? Like, is certainty going to be like all the time ubiquitous? With
what do you mean? What do you mean? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to figure it out too.
Like, okay, so computers can instantly solve any calculation in like a perfect quantum computing world, right? Like,
yeah,
things that would take millions of years to figure out, like computing like the most likely like weather, for example, or like how the stock market's going to go, or something like that, right? Like, that shit is like the only reason that we can't like perfectly predict it with an infinite number of factors is because there's no way to compute all that information, right? But if there was, right, like, would probability cease to exist, like in our like understanding of the world?
No, I just think we would have a fuller understanding of probability in general. Like a probability wouldn't cease to exist.
No,
it's just
I mean,
the
like
computer
for
can work
us,
through.
like for us as a quality of life, like we don't have to guess. We don't have to guess anything. We don't have to like, if you like, you know exactly how long it's going to take to get from one place to the next. For example, like on the freeway, if quantum computing exists, you could just calculate exactly how long it's going to take.
Right? I don't know, because I don't know if quantum computing can take into consideration traffic things that happen sporadically and shit like that. That stuff's still going to happen. Quantum computer isn't going to stop that from happening in real time.
I'm saying like, okay, like if we took out our infrastructure and replaced all the computers with quantum computers, and
which I'm sure we will at some point in our future.
It will probably take, a decade or so for that to like happen, once it happens in any meaningful way. But like, I'm just trying to imagine the ways, like the access to just static information is like such a game changer for humans, and like how we've done anything, like when people could like write a book and like reproduce the book and like share information.
I think we'll see things like scientists will be able to run a simulation on the effects of global warming over the course of instantaneously to see every single possible potential scenario, across a wide spectrum, that won't have to use, multiple computers over like long times and have to input their own, range and like that. Quantum computing will be able to do all of that instantaneously. So I think it won't remove probability, but it'll open the curtains and show probability bare as it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's quantum computing is Doctor Strange looking at 14 million ways to end the Avengers series, but we need to be the Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it can give us possibilities. It can say this is a thing, but unless we do something or act on what it says, it's just a computer program telling us, like, here's some shit, guys.
I just think about, like, the idea of word getting out, for example. Just the notion of, like, information traveling.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the way that the entire way that every human's life went from day to day changed immediately the moment that like things that happened in one place could immediately, or for any sort of human notice, like immediate information exchange across the globe completely changed the way we even conceived of our place on the earth. So I'm just interested in how
I think I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Access to like folds of reality that we could barely comprehend before. We don't even have to think about them. They just like answers can be provided to us. I don't know.
It will. It's going to change the way we do. Humanity does things in ways we can't really understand yet. I really don't think we can truly understand it. And you say that just made me. I'm curious how close our first quantum computer is.
Yeah.
And here's actually got an answer for you. The world's first fault-tolerant quantum computer is supposed to launch this year, end of 2024. The world's first commercial fault-tolerant quantum computer with logical qubits may be running before the year's end. Logical qubits, physical quantum bits, or qubits connected through quantum entanglement, reduce errors in quantum computers by storing the same data in different places. This diversifies the points of failure when running calculations. The new machine, which will have 256 physical and 10 logical qubits, will launch in late 2024 from representatives of Q-Era, the startup that's been building it. The announcement is blah, blah. So it'll be the first fault-tolerant one, which means it's not fully running, and they will have it fully running ideally as a 10,000 qubit machine by 2026 is the plan.
That's only 2 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. And this was written, this article is from space.com from February of this year. So this was earlier this year.
I wonder how
we'll see what it actually does. You know, I mean, like, just in like the idea of quantum computing can do a lot, but it's still just a computer. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna open a portal to zombie land and then Bigfoot comes out. Like, it's literally just
that's
quantum. It's just like smart.
That's the other thing, though. Okay, like, you know how like the Fermi Paradox is like everybody's out there, like, why aren't we hearing from them or whatever?
Sure.
Like, the other principle is like, or something is like about technology in my mind. Like, we perceive the universe, the entropy of the universe, we perceive it in like a linear fashion, like, you know, with eyes and sight, we like process information from light and like waves, like air waves that like make sound in our ear instruments and all these things. And that, like, you know, affects the way that we have like complex thought and all these things. So like thinking about that, and then thinking about the fact that science already, I forget who it was who described it this way, like probably like Carl Sagan or something, was like saying like science, the real principles, we're like scratching at the fucking like mud in which those pillars of like certainty stand. We can barely conceive of the forces that hold the universe together, and our like poor attempt at interpreting it for our measly little brains is like science, right?
Sure.
And so for me, like,
but it's cool that our measly little brains can even attempt to wrap our mind, like figure this shit out.
But the point is that it's extremely rudimentary and completely rooted in our like own ability to perceive and think.
Yeah.
And so like other life forms that are complex, like, what are the odds that like our sciences are even compatible, much less our technology? Like,
I mean, I would imagine not, right? I would imagine a quantum computer would tell us things that we have not even assumed.
Thought of. Yeah.
And then that would take us down a path that would be closer to what I imagine is real in the universe. Yeah. But I don't think it would, like, you're absolutely right. Like, an alien, if it showed up and we're like, hey, tell us about like gravity and black holes and shit, they'd be like, you mean glorplops? Please.
They're like, that's not how we, like, it's like Arrival. You know what I mean? Where they like mix up stuff based on like a misunderstanding of like reality itself. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's, and to kind of go further into that too, like to give you an idea of where we are in terms of like how reliable a quantum computer is. Right now, qubits are like easily disturbed and they're notoriously error prone. Roughly 1 in 1,000 of them fail. And to compare that to common computers, it's about 1 in 1 billion would fail in a conventional computer.
Like, it's like magic versus like sticks and rocks, basically. Is what we're
which is
comparing.
What this error prone quantum computer is, and why it's storing the same information in different places to try and reduce the amount of error is. And it led me down the hole of like, well, Google's quantum AI lab has demonstrated a 2.9% error rate. QEra's error rate is 0.5% with 48 logical qubits. But the world leader in less error prone is the University of Oxford, which has a 0.01% error rate, but it's only between 2 qubit gates, whatever the fuck that means. So we're like literally like just
a much
now
simpler computer, but much
we're like literally like now within this time frame, these past couple of years, opening the door to actually finding usable quantum computers. We're just opening that up, I think.
It's hard to perceive the way these things fucking change the shapes of our brains, man. I hate to beat this drum, but I think again of that quote from like Herodotus or whatever. I'm sure I'm misquoting it so bad, but it's like older philosophers in the town square, like yelling at people who are learning how to read because it's destroying their ability to like be humans and like remember things.
Yeah.
Which
you put it down, you know, yeah.
Like, imagine watching us lose the ability to remember that much. You think about how people made statues back then and how people did all this math and shit that like nobody could fucking do. And it's because the amount of noise that existed back then versus now, information wise, just floating around for you to think about, so low.
I would also argue that their stories and their memories are not exactly prone to facts which is why we would write them down. How many of their stories and tales changed over time just because it's word of mouth and nobody was writing anything down?
Sure, that like on an empirical level, of course, but I'm just talking about like the way our brain like uses.
Oh, it just changed. Yeah,
like the fact that you can.
We are an adaptable ape, though, right? Like,
yeah,
sure. But I mean, the fact that you can go look
and then we use stones
again. Just think about how psychedelic that is. That you could have a thought and then look at the exact same thought 20 years later, like. I know we just think of it as writing now, but before we could conceive of what writing was, the fact that somebody thought of that is insane. You know what I mean? And it changed everything.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Jesse looks like he's like brewing a retort.
No, it's I imagine it was all because of ego. You know, it was like, I want everyone to know that King Jesse was here.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah,
like I guarantee it's that.
It's not been that long though either. Like how long has there been written language? 10,000 years max?
Yeah,
sure. Max?
Not long. We are blip on the timeline.
But again, Earth. I mean, there's even though it is we're just better at it, it's still like when you see a chimpanzee use a stick to like get ants, you're like, that is crazy. Give it a couple 100,000 years, that dude could be like, I got it figured out, guys.
He's going to be chasing me down on a horse for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why they domesticated horses in the same way. It just doesn't make sense, but whatever.
We'll end with some more space news then. I'm sure you boys saw this, but this is just exciting stuff within our own solar system. There is an ocean's worth of water that might be within Mars itself now. This is 2 days ago. Very, very fresh. There's enough water to cover the surface of Mars. Enough water to cover the surface of Mars has been discovered within the crust of the red planet by NASA's InSight mission. The ocean is buried between 1 and 2 kilometers underground. InSight, which was a stationary lander during operation, touched down in the Elysium Planitia region on Mars in November of 2018. It maintained its mission for 4 years and armed with the first seismometer to be taken to the red planet. It detected 1,319 Mars quakes. Now, geophysicists Vashon Wright and Matthias Morsfeld of the Scripps Institution of Oceanography at the University of California, San Diego, and professor of planetary science Michael Manga of the that's a great fucking name.
Michael
of the
Manga?
University of California. Yeah, that's
the
fucking
name
great.
of your anime cult persona.
Right? Yeah, that's what it's gotta be. University of California and Berkeley have used that seismometer data to discover water on the planet. They combined the varying speeds of recorded Mars quakes, documented as the quakes reverberated through the red planet's interior, to a mathematical model describing the physics of different types of rocks in Mars' crust and mantle. It's exactly the same type of model that we use on Earth to identify underground aquifers and oil fields. It's the same tech. The results were startling as the data showed that many of the seismic waves had passed through rock saturated with liquid water. Quote, understanding the Martian water cycle is critical for understanding the evolution of the climate, surface, and interior, says Wright in a press statement. A useful starting point is to identify where water is and how much is there. And they were saying once upon a time, Mars had lots of liquid water on its surface with oceans, lakes, and rivers, but the water disappeared about 3 billion years ago. And today, Mars rovers explored dried up lake beds and empty river channels, while some of the Mars water is locked up as ice in the polar caps and as permafrost down in the world's mid-latitudes. It had been assumed that the rest of Mars water had escaped into space. Water vapor in the atmosphere was believed to have been broken apart by solar ultraviolet radiation, and Mars' low gravity was thought to enable to hang on to hydrogen parts of that vapor, which would have then been carried away into space by solar wind without a global magnetic field to shield against it. Just basically everything about math.
The ocean Mars just flew off into space?
Like slowly, it's kind of like evaporated.
I mean, that is... Have you ever seen Neil deGrasse Tyson explain the ocean?
I love what's actually going on. Talking about the tides and we're like rotating.
Yeah, basically like Earth is in the middle. If you imagine there's like the Earth in the middle and then the water is just layered on top. And one direction is being pulled by the sun and one direction is being pulled by the moon. And it just like keeps moving. And it's a very simplified version of it. I'm sure there's like some indiscrepancies here and there. But like basically the water's just sitting there. And it's like one bad day and it's all sucked away.
Yeah.
My thing is, what if we're right about Martians being a thing? And the reason that they are seeing UFOs or UAPs now that are like underwater things are because the Martian civilization
It's all underwater.
Excuse me.
He's trying to warn you. He's like, don't tell them.
Spill state secrets. Like, what if that civilization is a subterranean aquatic species?
Yeah.
Like, we just found out about that thing a couple of years ago where the sharks all go.
Yeah, that's right. We only just discovered where they go to breed.
Yeah, on our own Earth, we found like a giant cavern underwater where the sharks all go. Which
that we never found,
Which is exactly where like things like Atlantis are in like Marvel comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here, the issue with this water, though, is that it's really goddamn deep. They suggest that it's somewhere between 11.5 and 20 kilometers, which is 7.1 to 12.4 miles for us Americans. And there's no water at all in the crust above a depth of 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles. So despite being the best evidence yet, it is impractical for astronauts to we can't get to it. It's so fucking deep into the fucking, the planet is just not able to get to it at all. To illustrate, they say to why it's so unreachable is they consider that the deepest hole ever dug on Earth is the Kola super deep borehole in Russia.
Right.
Engineers in the Soviet Union spent 20 years digging the hole in an effort to reach the Earth's mantle, but drilling had to be aborted at about 7.6 miles down because the temperature grew too great, which was about 356 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius. It was just too hot for the drill bit. It seems unlikely that equivalent drilling on Mars could be accomplished anytime soon. Like, it took us 20 years to get 7 miles down on Earth, and this is in Mars 11 miles down.
Right.
It's not going to happen, but it's there.
Though you'll probably just do some dumb bullshit where you like blow Mars in half because we're fucking stupid as shit.
You want to get tripped out? You boys want to get real tripped out? This is for everyone out there as well.
Literally always.
I'm going to give you to the link. Go to 38 seconds.
Before you do that, let me read this last quote from the scientists.
Sure.
It says, quote, establishing that there is a big reservoir of liquid water provides some window into what the climate was like or could be like. And water is necessary for life as we know it. I don't see why the underground reservoir is not a habitable environment. It's certainly true on Earth. Deep, deep mines host life. The bottom of the ocean hosts life. We haven't found any evidence for life on Mars, but at least we have identified a place that should, in principle, be able to sustain life.
So if you go here, this is an AP video on YouTube. It's called Mars May Have Enough Water Under Its Surface to Form a Global Ocean, study suggests.
Yeah.
And there's sound from Mars, and it's recording vibrations of, I assume, their search.
Holy shit, it's like fucking bubbling.
And you can they pitch it up so we can hear it, but they're like your normal ears won't hear this. Wear headphones, listen to it, and it literally is just like, it starts coming in.
Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, it's like bubbling.
That's fucking
pretty neat.
Bro, I mean, again, more and more evidence that life, even it's microbial life in the ocean deep down that we'll never learn. It's just another planet within our own solar system that is not even perfect for life, but may have life. That's just more evidence that life is just like weirdly maybe just like.
Wait till we start exploring Titan, dude. That's going to be a wild trip.
I hope I'm alive for that. Oh, I hope I'm alive for that. That'd be fucking awesome.
If quantum computers exist, you'll be alive for it.
Okay, we'll see. I hope so.
Damn.
That's it for the mini-sode today, gentlemen. Thank you all so much for supporting us here at patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod, and all of you listeners listening for free at whatever time you end up getting this. We appreciate you. We love you. Goodbye.
Bye.